Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge, 5:31 a.m. Central Daylight Time. I was trying to start exactly at 5:30. That didn't work out. This thing was going slow setting up. Okay, which happens sometimes. It's irritating. We have from 1870 Old Forester, the first bottled bourbon. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is 86 proof, 43% alcohol, in other words. Age statement, don't think there is. Three 375 milliliter bottle. Signed by Campbell P. Brown, president of Old Forester, or Brown-Forman, really. Okay. The owners of Old Forester and Jack Daniels, I might add, and a lot of other Woodford Reserve, early times. We're going up against Sims, Mr. Thomas Sims. Tom Sims, age 4 years, distilled in Kentucky. Straight bourbon whiskey. You say, well, that's not really too famous. It really isn't. It's got a picture of the old distillery and the kind of thing in the background. TS. It was one of those places that was in Kentucky, and with all the competition couldn't make it, so they were bought out. This particular brand started in 1963, but I believe that the distillery was older than that. Just they made different brands, and Tom Sims was later. Kind of like Jim Beam, the Beam distillery may go back to perhaps 1795, but they didn't make Jim Beam bourbon until 1938. Okay. Doesn't say sour mash for either one of these. This is a Heaven Hill brand this day and age. 80 proof. Now you think to yourself, Old Forester's going to beat that one. It seems plausible or likely or probable. I thought that with Jack Daniel's Old Number 7. Said it's going to whip up on this, what you call obscure brand. But that wasn't the case. The Tom Sims won. I guess, to be fair, just because something's obscure doesn't mean it's inferior. Although the price is strange, because this was only $9.99 on sale. Now, it was a sale for a limited time only in Texas at a liquor store down there. So down there in what's the name of that town? I think it was McAllen, Texas. There's a whole bunch of towns crowded together along that U.S. Highway 83, big, busy intersection. Interstate Highway 83 runs from Canada to Texas, and then that's being converted into Interstate 2. So it's like busy. The 83 turning into Interstate 2, and then there's Business Route 83, the old highway section, which is long, and it's just a very busy corridor. And if you want to stay busy on a trip, go down there, and you'll stay busy because you'll be driving everywhere, looking at all kind of stuff. So we had some really good Mexican food. I really wasn't hungry, but my friend Dave said, try some of this. I said, oh yeah. No one in the restaurant could speak English, but we were able to point out what we wanted. It was packed with people. We were in Hidalgo. We stayed in Hidalgo, but like I say, all the towns are you don't know where you're crossing the city limits really into the next place. So, and we were buying this, buying that. So appearance, well, I should have bought the Tom Sims 6-year. There was a 6-year, but I guess you can't buy everything, right? They're both copper, so the appearance isn't going to matter. I'm not seeing any difference there. Now, what else do I have coming up against Tom Sims? Woodford Reserve, another Brown-Forman brand. That shouldn't be any kind of contest, but you just never know. I don't know why I need to mix these. I can't remember which is which already. I have Woodford Reserve, Stedman Select, another 43% alcohol, 86 proof, aged 3 years, a year less. Stedman Select, okay, so that one is new. That only hit the market in 2018. It's really good though for what you're paying. Get this huge bottle for $19.99. It's a Sazerac Buffalo Trace thing. No, I don't think it's from the Buffalo Trace distillery. It's from Louisville, but it's one of those Sazerac operations. And then I've got Virginia Black, which is a strange one. That's from Drake. That's from Indiana, Midwest Grain Products. It's a blend of a 2, 3, and 4-year bourbon. And it's a weird taste. It's not a bad taste. My friend David said, oh, it tastes bad. It's flavored. He says flavored. I said, I don't know if it's flavored. They don't indicate that on the website. That doesn't mean anything. I said, in it, but it might be because they're not calling it bourbon. They're calling it American whiskey, which gives you leeway. See, then you can add the coloring and the flavoring. Ooh. Even though it's made with 3 bourbons. See, you could take 3 straight bourbons, blend them, but when you add the coloring and the flavoring, then, okay, it's American whiskey. You say, well, it's not made in Kentucky. It's made in Indiana, so it can't be bourbon anyway. Now, that's a myth. People believe that. They think that all bourbon has to come from Kentucky, but it doesn't. I got into an argument with a woman at a grocery store once. She was telling me, you're wrong, you're wrong. I said, no, you're wrong. I didn't say it in an ugly way, but she was trying to like school me. Do you know that all bourbon has to be made in Kentucky? I said, that's a common misbelief. She said, well, my sons like to drink bourbon. You know, whether her sons like to drink bourbon or not is really irrelevant to the law. I said, I have a link to the United States Tax and Trade Bureau website. Would you like me to give you that link and you can look up the regulations? She's kind of made a bad face and stalked out. I wasn't trying to be sarcastic or ugly. I was just trying to be helpful. Like, I don't understand people that have these dedicated ideas and they're not willing to learn, you know, like you don't want to learn, you don't want to find out things. I don't understand that. I just can't help it. I used to teach school, high school, college for over 20 years. And my whole idea was you want to learn, right? But some people, they're not, like we talk about World War I, and I'm anti-war. You know, my alternate channel is called Anti-War, but I was still interested. You can be interested in things you don't like. But seemed like you'd want to learn about it. Like, how many people know that Germany signed that Treaty of Versailles like at the last minute? Basically, they told them, if you don't sign by June 24th, I'm sorry, you have till June 21st, 1919 to sign this treaty or the war's starting again. So they debated it. Germany almost had a civil war over that because half the country said, no, let's spit in their face and tell them go to hell. We're not signing it. Let them invade if they want. We'll fight house to house, street to street, you know, room to room until the last person standing. The real fanatical ones wanted to do that. And then the moderates who controlled the government said, no, it isn't going to accomplish anything except we go down in some blaze of glory like in Scarface, you know, that movie. But I mean, there's no point to that. They said, let's just sign the damn thing. We know it's unjust. That's what they're saying to each other. So we're not going to follow it. We'll just sign it to buy time. We'll sign the treaty. and then we'll just secretly violate it immediately upon the signature of it. And then we'll retaliate at a time convenient to us. We start a secret advanced weapons program. We're going to not follow that rule about 100,000 troops. We're going to build up a huge army around the treaty on the back of the treaty. So that's interesting. So you want to learn. People don't learn. They don't know. All right. This Fernan says blip bloop. Your chat have restricted language. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't understand that at all, what you're saying. I have no restrictions on that. I don't know what, I don't understand what, I'm not following what you're saying. So this smells like regular old bourbon. Like, you know, it's common. These are common. I mean, Old Forester is not exotic. It's not gourmet. It's just a common, everyday commodity bourbon, right? Like you could buy it and you drink it. I don't think there's that many people saying, oh, wow, I bought Old Forester. I just can't get over it. Now, there's some specialty ones like the 1920, and they're much more expensive. Sweet, it's sweet vanilla wood. You notice that I never said it was bad or inferior. I didn't say that about Old Forester. I wouldn't say that. I don't believe it. I think it's good. I prefer it over Jack Daniels, probably. I think I do, yes. Now, this one here is kind of dull. I don't know what it is. It seems to have less aroma, less flavor. Now, that can be tricky because I think the Tom Sims had more aroma and flavor than I expected, so that's got me thrown off a bit. I can't write that. Yeah, but I don't know the answer to that. It could be some new protocol on this platform because they're getting very restrictive about what people can write for an answer. I don't know what to tell you. I know I didn't put any restrictions on there. I can assure you of that. They both smell fine. All right, so it's a tie on aroma. On appearance, it's a tie because they look the same. On aroma, it's a tie because they both smell good. So far, Tom Sims wins by default because I paid $9.99 for that $7.50 bottle, and I paid $6.99. No. I paid $9.99 for this. That's right. The Old Forester was $9.99, I think, for this. It was a good price. In other words, it was like cheaper per ounce from what you normally pay. I mean, it wasn't way cheaper, but I figured, well, I'll just get it. Okay. And it's done fine. You know, it served me well. Okay. So everything's a tie right now, except that Tom Sims is winning by default. Because anytime it's a tie, and I think you can understand that thinking, anytime there's a tie, the cheaper wins because you're paying for them, right? So if they both are equal in flavor, aroma, and enjoyment, why wouldn't you buy the cheaper one? I know I would every time. It's weird. Everything related to World War II is restricted. Must be a new policy. It's strange, Fernand. There's like a Marxist-Leninist approach to all of this now. If you try typing Stalin or Mao or whatever, it'll probably let you do that. Or Lenin, you know. This tastes woody. Very woody, very, very wood. Hard, heavy wood, not hardwood. Although oak is a hardwood. But it's, you know, it's heavy wood and char. I said this before. Tom Sims must use alligator char. They must use the thickest char they can get because they're only going 4 years on it, right? So they even talk about that on the Redemption Bourbon website, how they use the heaviest char because they're not really aging it too long. So it's like a cheat, you know, cheating give it more charcoal flavor with less aging. I don't know. I think that's what they're doing. This, see, it's not a heavy tar, coal. It's more wood. There's char, but it's like a mid level. There's a lot of oak here, a lot of oak. And I think in a lot of corn. That's that Brown-Forman thing. Everything there is corn, grits. Oh, man, wow. Oh, wood. Oh, so much wood. And I think a lot of people would not like it. Now, I know people that don't like bourbon. I'm not in love with it, honestly. But they don't, they say, oh, it's like too much corn and it's too much wood. It's too intense and they don't like it. They're not obligated to like it. Do you know that you're not obligated to like any sort of drink? You read some of the comments on these channels, including mine, and the people making the comments would almost, you think they believe that people are actually obligated to like certain products, which is craziness. Well, we're not going to go, we're just not going to be part of that crazy stuff. Not on this channel. That other channels can do that. Talk about, oh, this and that. And I have some kind of like regimen I have to follow as it concerns big, mid-size and small breweries, distilleries, wineries. I'm just not into that. I try each product as it exists and tell you what I think. I'm not. I had somebody tell me one time, all you ever give is a B+ or A-, which is not true, of course. But when I'm giving a score, I'm not thinking, oh, see, now the last 20 I gave this, so I got to make it balanced out. I said, if I do 1,000 more beers and each of them comes up to a B+, then that's what it's going to be, 1,000 B+ in a row. All right. You know why? Because that's what they scored in my mind, in my estimation. Just my opinion anyway. So it's ridiculous for somebody to say that. Like they're saying, like I had a plan, like I'm in a plot to score everything a B+ or an A-. You come on, viewer, you're smarter than that. Why are you making a comment like that? You got to be smarter than that. Using intelligence is not a stigma. I think it's a benefit, something you should be wanting to do, not avoiding. I'm not trying to avoid telling which is which over here. I'm having trouble determining which is which. Okay, so you typed it and it came up. There's your answer. I mean, I've noticed this for years, but it's more intense now, Fernand, that there's a favoritism toward totalitarian, authoritarian regimes, depending on who the regime is. You know what I mean? If it's the symbolism of one regime, sure, it's wonderful. Put it on a beer label. Lagunitas does. You say, well, they only kill 20, 40 million people. Big deal. But boy, don't put the other symbol of the other totalitarian regime, or that'd be on CBS News. What an uproar. People would be banning it, protesting it, screaming and hollering at the board meeting. Well, right there, that's your tip-off there. You know, they favor one over the other. You say, but they killed for a different reason. You know, if you're going to be murdered, it may as well be for a good reason, right? See, that's the warped mentality of certain people in this world. And I've had people call me out. I did that video for the Lagunitas with the totalitarian symbol, and one guy who does beer discussions tells me, something like, you're wrong, you're fanatical, or what. I said, no, you're wrong, because you either don't grasp the concept, which would be due to lack of intelligence, or you're just being willfully ignorant. Okay. He doesn't comment on my channel anymore, which is fine if he's not going to comment sensibly. I'm talking about Tom. I mean, if you have that limited of an understanding of reality that you're going to come at me because I said that there shouldn't be favoritism shown toward one totalitarian symbol over another, okay, that's telling me either you're dedicated to one of the symbols or you can't grasp simple concepts. I mean, I don't know how. What do I need to make it even more elementary? Do we have to walk hand in hand? Do I have to hold your hand? We'll walk through it together? My only point was, why are you putting totalitarian symbols at all on your beer label? Well, I mean, what's the point of that? It doesn't need to be there. And somebody said, oh, it bothers you. You're offended, huh? I said, no. Once again, it's like you're not grasping the concept. Whoever said I was offended, I don't even care. I just found it comical. That's all. I tested it out. I've tested it out in beer groups. I was in this malt liquor group on Facebook, and there were some strange guys in there, and they kept promoting like Marxist Leninist symbolism on some of the stuff, even like old leftover World War II items. And I thought, that's like, why are you putting that in there when it's really not related to King Cobra malt liquor? Like, there's no point to it. Either you think you're being edgy or you're favor Soviet socialism or something like that. So I said, I'm going to test them out, because the administrator of the group seemed to have no issue with it. He seemed to even think it was funny. They were, ha, 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 ha. I said, okay. So I have some items from World War II myself, things that I bought at various places. So I showed some malt liquors with those accoutrements in the background. Oh, the uproar. You wouldn't believe it. I said, well, I thought the whole point was everybody needs to chill out, relax, and just get with it. You know, be hip to the scene, man. You know, you need to chill out. And isn't it funny to show totalitarian symbolism in your beer photos? They said, that's terrible. That's terrible. I said, well, I don't understand your point. Well, you know, because they didn't make any sense. But you can't help them with, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to, they got a lot of people in the world that are dumb and they don't know it. You understand? They think they're smart. So I can't, you know, I didn't care. They didn't kick me out of the group. They just, the guy running it said, I'm going to unfriend you and block you. I said, okay. That doesn't make you not dumb, though, if you can't grasp the simple concept. Master Yorni says, cheers. Cheers to you. Fernand says, every time the left get in power, they kill people by the millions. Yes, this is true, as evidenced by endless amounts of evidence going back to 1793. Okay. I'm telling you, I really don't know if I can tell these apart, but I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to make a guess, and I'm not real confident, which once again is the strong argument that Tom Sims is the clear winner. It's the clear winner. So that's already determined. Whether I get it right or not, doesn't matter. Tom Sims, you say, can't be. No way Tom Sims, some brand I ain't never heard of, is going to beat the legendary Old Forester. You know, you say, my grandpa was in Vietnam. You know, he suffered a long time after that war, and he drank Old Forester, and he was a damn patriotic man. He was damn patriotic. And you're going to tell me my grandpa's favorite bourbon, Old Forester, is inferior to Tom Sims? No, I didn't say it was inferior to Tom Sims. I said Tom Sims is just as good as it, especially when price is considered. All right. I think this is Old Forester, and I think that's Tom Sims, but entirely not confident. But I do think the heavy, unused, it may be a flaw in a way. You know what I mean? It may be a flaw in a way because it's like unusually heavy char. And I think that's being done to compensate for something. So, but in a practical sense, it won't really matter, you know, because most people aren't going to drink this and be thinking about it that, oh, I have to break this down in my mind. I have to analyze it. I have to look at this in a metaphysical way. You know, whiskey is metaphysical, it's esoteric. I don't just drink it, I think it. You know, most people aren't going to do that. I do because I'm eccentric or whatever, you know. But in a practical sense, it won't matter. So I'm going to say Tom Sims. So I hope that has an S there below it because I know Old Forester don't. It does. S for Sims. Well, Mr. Sims, whoever you are, you did a good little job over her. All right. So, well, that was very interesting. You say, oh, you always got to talk about history and government. Well, I mean, I'm interested in that, you know, and I watch enough beer reviews. These people go off on all kind of tangents. Usually it's some weird sexual interest, which I really don't want to hear about that. You know, it's like they're trying to, it's like, what is the purpose of your channel? Is it really beer and wine? Or are you trying to send an oblique message about a particular warped hobby that you have and you're trying to get people to sign up for it? You know what I'm saying? Like rotten meat attracts flies. Because, you know, when people keep talking about something, it's almost like an obsession. You think, I'd hate to look through their computer files because I'm sure it ain't a pretty sight. So I don't feel too bad talking about legitimate stuff like history and government when they got other people that their whole channel is almost purient. You know, they ought to call it purient beer reviews or deranged beer reviews. And I still watch. You say you still watch? Yeah, I'm curious what they say about the beer. I'm really not curious about their personal affliction. I'll call it an affliction more than a hobby. Jordan Master says, cheers. You are the teacher mastermind, Ryan, but I wonder how much you can learn me. I could probably, you mean teach Master Yorny is not American. He doesn't speak English as his first language, I don't believe. I think I could learn you a lot if you're open-minded and you're willing to learn. Some people are closed-minded. You know, I deal with this on Facebook all the time, these left-wing and right-wing people. And a lot of them are right-wing, you know, the neoconservatives, the modern conservatives, you know the type. Their whole life is dedicated to posting memes on Facebook. Little cartoons about, or little photo jokes. They think it's funny. I don't see what's funny. About Anastasia Ocasio-Cortez, I think her name is, ridiculing Nancy Pelosi. I say, boy, these people here, I guess you have to do that. Ridicule the Speaker of the House or whatever. You have, because you don't have any depth. There's no depth to your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So what else are you going to do? You think you're conservative and you're not. And they'll be out there, hoorah, wartime, bombing with an A-bomb, hoorah. I'm like, these are not conservatives. They don't even understand. But then try to talk to them. There's no logic. They'll block you or they'll curse you. But like I said, if you have no depth of knowledge, you have no discernment. No discernment. You basically have to live a cartoon life because there's nothing else to go to. There's no basis. There's no depth. Okay. So we try to have a little depth on the channel, you know. We don't want to just drink baby milk, you know, baby milk. Sometimes, like the Bible talks about that. Paul, the Apostle Paul, was getting irritated because these people, they want to just do baby milk. I'm drinking baby milk. I'm drinking baby milk. And he used that allegory or that figure of speech, whatever you call that. He says, it's like sometimes it's time to eat steak. You know, it's time to eat meat. We need to cut some meat and eat the meat. And I'm trying to feed you steak. You got to chew on it, digest it, but you still want to drink milk. So he's basically saying I'm dealing with infantile mentality here. You know, there's the use of logic, intelligence, discernment, thinking is good too. And he was kind of talking about that. You know, you want to have some brain. Anyway, thanks for watching this video production. Tom Sims wins again. I mean, I can't believe it. I thought it was going to just be a humdrum kind of depressing exercise with Tom Sims. It's been everything but that. It's really been a shocking development with this whiskey. And I would be, if I saw the 6-year, I would buy it without hesitation. I mean, unless the price was too high, which I doubt it would be. Thanks for watching this video production. Tomorrow morning, we're planning to do Tom Sims versus, I think it's Stedman Select. That's going to be fascinating. Thanks.